But let's start off with this. The Eastern Cape provincial government, led by Premier Oscar Mabuyane, will tomorrow commemorate Africa Day under the theme from the African Union, Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparations. This is preluded by a dialogue held today at the Mvezo Great Place, hosted by the Mandela Royal House, where different voices unpack the theme for this year. Newzroom Afrika's Liyema Vumisa is there and joins us for more. Liyema, very good afternoon to you. How's the Royal House looking to put together this theme in terms of ensuring that whatever message they put out there for those who will be attending in this year's celebrations really has the theme of reparations put forward?
Very good afternoon to you, Katlego. Well, in fact, I do understand that the Royal House of Mandela, in fact, is at the helm of these preparations, which also commenced yesterday, which was Friday, going into today. And also the main event, which is then going to be attended by the Premier of the Eastern Cape, is going to happen just a couple of kilometers from the Mvezo Great Place, wherein the Premier of the province of the Eastern Cape will deliver then his keynote address. But just to join us, the person that is joining us right now, just to elaborate on some of the topics that will be unpacked right here at this dialogue that is happening today at the Mvezo Great Place, is Chief Mandla Zwelivelile Mandela, who is going to just talk to us then. Thanks very much for joining us. Perhaps just enlighten us on the fact that the Royal House of Mandela, alongside some of the stakeholders, are at the helm of this event.
Well, for us, it is an honor to be able to host this conference as the Royal House of Mandela and the Mvezo Traditional Council. As inspired by the theme of the African Union, reparation through justice. For us, we wanted to zoom into that topic and unpack it, because the theme for African Union this year, 2025, is justice for Africans and people of African descendants through reparations. And in this regard is for us to be able to bring all social partners. In looking at the 3-day program, we wanted to have a rally in order to speak about the rise of colonialism and the brutal apartheid regime and challenges that we were able to face in our past, and how we can be a voice for oppressed nations around the globe. So we staged a rally yesterday with the Nelson Mandela Museum, and we were able, with the assistance of the chairperson, Dr. Potelwa, as the CEO, Dr. Vuyani Boy, able to host one at the Nelson Mandela Museum. But today we wanted to have a dialogue. As you know, Unkoso Dalbunga is praised as Dalibunga, the creator of dialogue. So we wanted to bring it home to his area of birth and invite traditional leaders, academics, government structures from provincial, working with the office of the Premier, as well as the MEC of DISRAC, the Department of Sports, Recreation and Arts and Culture. And also bring in the Provincial House of Traditional Leaders and Khoisan and the local houses, but worker formations as well as interfaith organizations, CBOs and NGOs to come and participate.
I wonder then, Chief Zwelivelile, just on that note of traditional leaders, I wonder then that some of the sentiments and perhaps their perspectives on how Africa as a continent is run are amplified enough.
Yes, this is the essence of what the conference is about. We want to speak about Africa pre-colonialism, Africa in colonialism, Africa in the struggle for liberation, Africa in post-liberation, and Africa's future. And therefore, this is why we want the participation of all role players to unpack the various themes that have been identified. And we are happy to see that the institutions of higher learning like Walter Sisulu University have sent academia and students to come and participate and also make a contribution, so that we come out with a researched document and that will be able to shape and influence our policies going forward.
Yesterday, we attended King Yabatembo, the briefing that was happening at Nkululekweni, wherein they then, sort of touched on this issue about traditional leaders being sidelined as far as conversations on national and even provincial government spheres are concerned. Particularly, this comes then after the recent visit by the president to America to meet his counterpart, Mr. Donald Trump. The Abatembo saying that traditional leaders were not consulted in those discussions and whether or not they were supposed to be factored in. What do you have to say about that?
Well, for us, we must, as I said, in speaking about Africa pre-colonialism and in colonialism, some of the first people to wage the fights against the wars of dispossession were traditional leaders. Some of your first imprisoners on Robben Island were traditional leaders. And therefore, we've played an instrumental role in ensuring that we preserve our land. But I'm not one to try and point fingers. I always want to understand what our role has been today in today's context. Have we played the similar role? Have we claimed the space? I often do talks and I raise the question, are we a South Africa that was crafted in Westminster on 1909? Or I am a Tembu, a Xhosa, a Zulu, a Venda, a Sotho? Do we preserve those identities, or have we fallen to uplift the Western settler colonialist concepts of South Africa, which was not even crafted by us? The borders of Africa you find today are a result of the Berlin Conference, drafted by Leopold II and Otto von Bismarck, the first Chancellor of Germany, and it was a benefit to 7 European countries. So we as traditional leaders need to reclaim our role, need to ensure that we echo the sentiments of what the South African Native Congress was established for, as King Dalindyebo and iphakathi lakhe uRhubusana, when they went to the coronation of King Edward VII in 1902 in Britain, they laid a foundation of an organization that will be built on 2 pillars, the House of Chiefs and the House of Representatives. Have we maintained that House of Chiefs? Where has its role become today? We see an organization and a government that has emerged from the House of Representatives. So I won't be one to point at fingers at the House of Representatives and forget about what role are we playing to preserving that. But we have a simple message as traditional leaders to the President of the United States. Our hard-earned democracy will not be trumped by the USA. And we are a sovereign state that will continue to try and resolve its own challenges and correct the injustice of the past without any favor to any Western imperialism.
Chief Zulivelile Mandela there talking to us then about what is going to transpire. Matter of fact, the event is underway, Katlego, and he then mentions that colonialism will chart the conversations and the dialogues that are going to occur here. Of course, this comes then just a day before the main event that is going to be held in celebration and commemoration of Africa Day, Katlego.